In this video, I'm going to run you how to prepare for your toy and what to do when you first receive it so that you can get the most out of your sexy self-care. So often we make these purchases with big expectations but don't have a well-rounded understanding of what we need to do to get the most out of it. So I'm going to share with you some of the tools that I've used as well as what other women that I've worked with have used so that you can have the most delicious and exquisite time possible. So the first thing is make space. So what I mean by make space is starting to carve out in your mind, or even better in your schedule, the time that you need for self-pleasure. Start to visualize the spaciousness that you require to fully drop in and relax with yourself, and start to put the motions in action to make it happen. If you're married, have kids, or if you're simply a fast-paced, full lifestyle lady, then it's especially important to start thinking creatively and make the time you need for yourself. It is no one else's responsibility but yours, and you are the only one who can make your pleasure a priority. So if you're someone who feels like you're too busy for pleasure, I want to invite you to change that affirmation to I have an abundance of time, or time is on my side, or my personal favorite is I make effective use of my time by filling it with what lights me up. You get the picture, but it's all about mindset. So start to get in the habit of making space for your pleasure and prioritizing your pleasure, and see how your schedule starts to change. Okay, so up next is set your intention. What do you want to get out of your toy, and why did you purchase it in the first place? At this point, I like to take a step back and visualize on a higher level instead of specific tangible goals like having a G-spot orgasm. How do you want to feel? What does living a turned on life mean to you? What would your life look like if you were connected to your pleasure and your power? How would you move through the world? How would you communicate? How would you walk down the street? How would you do the dishes? Sex toys aside, I want you to really feel into and imagine what your life would look like holistically as a pleasure-fueled woman. How does it feel in your body? What does it look like, smell like, and what do you see around you? How are you treating yourself? It's really powerful to write this down. You could write it down in your mirror, you could write it in your journal next to your bed so that you can be reminded of this dream that you're calling in, because dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. Keep your toys and store them in another video. Next, I want to get into what to do when you first receive your toy, and that is open the package mindfully. Now, it's entirely up to you to choose how you want to create a ritual around this, but I always like to open any new purchase with space and time so that I can really welcome it into my life. Your toy, after all, is a new lover, and in alignment with creating space, like we talked about earlier, it just wouldn't be right for the very first interaction to be rushingly tearing the package open, having a quick once over, and then placing it carelessly in the top drawer before rushing out the front door to your next appointment. I want to suggest that you open the package slowly and with presence. You can also create a beautiful space to put your toy in eyesight if possible, and then that way you can be reminded to connect to your pleasure, even if it's just a deep breath at the time. More on how to safely store your toys in another video. Another thing you want to do is check it. At Lalulah, of course, there are many points of quality control, but things can happen, and it's important to make sure your toys don't have any cracks, chips, or dysfunctions on it. And if they do, make sure that you let us know straight away. You also want to give your toy a clean just to make sure it's completely ready for you. We've got a whole video dedicated to caring for your toy where you'll learn all the ways to safely keep your toy clean physically, emotionally, and energetically as well. And lastly, treat it like your lover. Get to know your toy. Sleep with it next to your bed or even in your bed. Carry it around with you. Observe it. Spend time with it. Sometimes I have toys for weeks before even engaging with them sensually, and this is all a part of creating a loving and trusting relationship with yourself and with your yoni by ensuring that the energy you're bringing to it is only the very best. I believe that doing little things like this really build trust and respect with ourselves because we're doing what's right for our bodies and our well-being. Of course, it's an exercise of listening to your intuition and knowing when it's time to take things to the next level. I've had women who can barely wait to fully receive their purchase, and that's beautiful too. Listen to your body and trust your gut always. This is about so much more than shoving a dildo up your pussy. This is about learning to listen to and trust our body's innate wisdom, which, if you ask me, is the core foundation of living a turned on life.